Hey, welcome back to Emlyn in the Mix. Season 3, Episode 10. My goodness, we have had a massive week. I'm actually recording this at a very different time. I don't normally record this at nighttime, but I am, and I just came back from DJing, and my voice is a little bit croaky, and I thought there's no point, because I normally do it in the morning, the next morning, and I thought there's no point on going to sleep. I might as well just record the podcast now, and you guys don't care about that, my private life and stuff like that. You just want to know what's happening in the world of music technology and music news and music gear. Well, if that's what you're wondering, you have definitely come to the right place. Just going to turn my headphones up here a little bit because we're totally professional. You've come to the right place. If this is your first time on this podcast, that's what it's about. We're going to be talking about the latest and greatest in awesome music gear and music technology. And this last week, we've had so many cool announcements and releases. I've actually had to cull a few of the items because it's just too many to get through. So let's just get stuck straight into it. So first piece of exciting news here is actually about the Maschine and Maschine Plus update, which is coming to us very soon. So if you're a Native Instruments Maschine user, you're going to love this piece of news. I just wanted to quickly point out some of the things that are going to be in this update and are really exciting if you do use Maschine. So the first thing here that's pretty massive that's going to be in this update is that VST, it's basically going to have VST 3 plugin support. So it's going to be Maschine 2.15, and it will be able to run the VST 3 plugins indoors that support this format. And these are functionally equivalent to the VST 2 versions. It seems that they're sort of, getting rid of the VST 2s and now coming in with VST 3, and essentially you are going to be able to use the VST3s in the Maschine software, which is really exciting because the VST3s are obviously the plugins that have better power and better GUIs and that sort of thing. It's also worth mentioning that hosting of VST3 plugins inside a Maschine is considered a separate topic to loading them into a DAW as a VST3 plugin in Target. VST3 plugins by Native Instruments can be hosted in Maschine, and in 2022 they're going to work with more third-party manufacturers to add support for NKS VST3s. So if you are a user of their NKS software as well, Native Instruments Complete Series software as well, you will love that the extra support for third-party plugins will be coming in a future update. Not in this update that I'm talking about, but in a future update. Also, they've added auto sampler. So the new auto sampler provides a fast and efficient method of sampling an external device such as a synthesizer or drum machine, which is compatible with all 4x4 Maschine controllers. There's also auto project recovery mode now. With this update, Maschine software and Maschine Plus will periodically save your current project to ensure that no work is lost in the event of a crash or unexpected shutdown. Now, we've all been there before, where you've had a project crash, not necessarily Maschine, but you've had your DAW crash or something like that. And a lot of DAWs these days already include that project backup, but it's really nice to see that Maschine is including that. They're adding chord inversions, which is already available as part of Complete Control, but it hasn't been available in the Maschine software, so that's pretty exciting. And just general stability improvements. I thought I'd mention this because I know that a lot of my listeners do either have Maschine or they love the Maschine environment, and this is really exciting that Native Instruments is working hard in the back end to update their software and drivers and keep these amazing pieces of hardware alive. I mean, they're not that old. Maschine Plus only came out, gosh, it is coming up to 2 years though now, but it's still relatively new in the world of music technology, and it can only get better from here with these refinements and these updates that they're doing on the back end with the software. Like, for example, when I first got the Maschine Plus, because I was one of the first I was an early adopter of the Maschine Plus, let's put it that way. And the Maschine Plus was, I'm not going to lie, it was a little bit buggy at the start, and I think I did some videos on that. You can check it out on my YouTube channel and see that I was struggling a little bit with it, but as they've refined the software and gotten it better, that Maschine Plus hardware as a standalone instrument is now very good. And even though there's no boost in power or memory or anything like that, it's just the software working more efficiently and allowing it to be able to work better. And it's really cool to see the team at Native Instruments working hard in the background. Now, we've got another piece of news here from Native Instruments. This comes to us from Native Instruments, of course. And this is a new expansion. This is for you techno heads, you Detroit, Berlin banging, 4 to the floor techno lovers. You're going to love this. Lunar echoes the essential sound of Berlin and in Detroit, techno sampled from classic hardware. Hypnotic arpeggios, lush dub chords, rolling bass lines, and driving percussion processed with analog gear. And as always, these expansion packs come with a bunch of kits, 45 Maschine kits, 30 massive presets, 20 Monarch presets, 302 loops, and 227 one-shots. Let's have a quick listen to it, shall we? Lunar Echoes, here we go. Oh yeah. That is a banging demo. Ooh. I like those stabs. Very nice. Man, this is a banging demo. I'm just looking around. If you're watching on YouTube here, you probably see my head looking around the corner of the camera here. Alright, let's stop the demo there. What? Not sure what's going on there. The demo doesn't want to stop. But that demo, that first one we heard, sounds absolutely amazing. So the cool, disaffected sound of Berlin meets the funk and soul of Detroit techno. Hypnotic arpeggios, lush dub chords, and rolling bass lines, as I said just before, and more. Lunar Echoes comes ready to create complex minimal grooves and melodics. Kits built from classic synths and drum machines are custom processed with analog gear and ready to sequence. Experiment with subtle variations and evolving modulations to make anthemic techno tracks that move the crowd. And that is Lunar Echoes. Now, behind Lunar Echoes is this dude here. If you're looking, he looks like a pretty serious techno guy. Alexander Kowalski, dude, a Berlin techno dude, and yeah, you heard that quality there. And that some of those samples, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to make that style of music, because you can use those stabs. I mean, obviously it is totally directed towards making this genre, but I like to have fun with these expansion packs. I often get different expansion packs and then I make different genres. It's a lot of fun. But Lunar Echoes, you can hear, the thing I love about Native Instruments is they keep making and producing very quality sampled expansion packs, and this is no exception. Lunar Echoes, let's jump along because there's a lot to get through here. Next one is we're going to talk about is Xenology Effects, which is essentially Roland's software effects, and they've been rolling out, excuse the pun, it's not really a pun, is it? Roland and rolling. Anyway, I'm wearing my Roland jumper. Hey, no, just kidding. But they just announced the Roland Juno 60 Chorus as a software effects plugin as part of their subscription base, which you got different tiers if you're into that sort of thing. I mean, it is Roland. If you're a Roland fanboy, you should definitely check this out. They have 3 different tiers of payments, which include, I think the lowest tier actually includes the Xenology effects, which this Juno 60 Chorus would actually be included in. Now, if you don't know what the Juno 60 Chorus is, I'm just going to read a little bit back here for you. So, genuine Roland recreation of the classic stereo chorus effect from the Juno 60 analog synth. So, it was an effect that was actually on the Juno 60 analog synth. Roland Juno 60 is a shining star in the vintage synth universe, heard on generations of famous tracks and still loved by musicians and producers today. A huge slice of its timeless magic comes from an analog stereo chorus effect that imparts so much richness and character that players rarely turn it off. With the Juno 60 Chorus plugin, you can now infuse any DAW track with the evocative color of this iconic 80s effect. And if you are watching on the simulcast here, the podcast, you'll see the website here is quite nice that they've done here on Roland. It's quite graphical, lots of pictures, and you sort of scroll down, you can see everything. Let's have a quick listen of an on-off on electric piano of the Roland Juno 60 chorus effect. Here we go. There you go. It's on. Wow, yeah. Thickens it up a lot. Let's listen to some guitar. Here we go. Guitar with the chorus on. Nice. Wow, guitar sounds so good with chorus. That's off there. That's really nice. Now, mind you, it's just coming through the software plugin. And let's listen to maybe a software synth, SH101 software synth. There you go. Wow, very deep. All right, you can hear it turning on and off there. So Roland and its guitar products division boss are well known for introducing many influential effects to the music world, but perhaps none is more revered and imitated than the stereo chorus. Debuted in 1975 and evolved and refined over multiple generations, this Roland original continues to captivate with an uncanny ability to bring depth, dimension, and life to any sound source. That's Roland's signature effect, the Juno 60 chorus, with the 3 types, the secret source of all your effects. Anyway, check it out. Jump over to the Roland Zenology page and you can check this out. If you do want to sign up as part of their subscription, they, as I said, have 3 different tiers that you can look at. I'm just clicking across here now. So you got free, there's a free version. Not entirely sure what you need to do. Probably just need to sign up or something. You've got Core, Pro, and Ultimate. And obviously these cost different prices and you get more for your money basically if you're spending more and less. This one here is only $2.99 a month, which is pretty crazy. And this actually, that's the core. And that includes Zenology, the software synthesizer upgrade from Lite version, all Zen core sound packs. That's pretty good. And Zenology effects software effects. Full functionality for the following apps: Zen Beat, Zen Tracker, Beat Sync, Maker, 4-camera, and 4-camera Maker. Anyway, that's the core version, the pro version, and the ultimate version. And you can pick your Roland Cloud and check out that if you like Roland software. Let's move along to the next piece of news. This comes to us from iZotope. Now, iZotope have actually just announced, this is just a very quick piece of news I wanted to let you guys know if you are RX users or if you use any of the iZotope software, that actually RX9 is now M1 compatible, Apple Silicon M1 compatible. Now, if you did see the title, obviously, of today's podcast, we're going to be talking about those brand new Apple Studio computers and are they good for musicians. It's a very good, very, very good article I want to talk to you about. We're going to get towards the end of this podcast, but it's good to see that companies such as iZotope, which are, you know, a larger company of most of the music technology, music gear software companies out there, are actually now getting their Apple Silicon and native M1 support going. I really love seeing this. And yeah, they're working towards, they haven't quite got all the other ones going like Ozone 9 elements, tonal balance, and so forth, but they are working to get those ones done within Q1 2022. And in 2022, basically, it looks like they're going to complete making the native completion of all their software. Hang on, compatible with Rosetta and will be compatible with native, in 2022. So I guess they're going for getting all of their software, iZotope's whole lineup there, M1 Apple Silicon compatible. Now, I know if you're not an Apple user, you're probably not going to enjoy some of the news that I'm talking about today, but it is important. I know that a lot of my listeners do use Apple, and we got to share the love. I do PC news at times, but yeah, okay, I'm biased. I do use an Apple as well. But it's pretty exciting. This is big news, and especially with Apple just releasing the Apple Studio, I think this is kind of exciting because what's important is that, you know, it's all good to have these Apple M1 silicon chips, which are amazingly powerful, but if the developers, third-party developers, don't support that chip, it's basically running on Rosetta, and it's not fully utilizing that native environment and that power that is actually there, because the raw power of these machines is incredible. This is what we're going to talk about, is how amazing you could be making music so buttery and smooth. And anyway, let's get into that towards the end of this podcast, but I just have to say well done to iZotope for getting some Apple Silicon support going, and let's see more of these companies jumping on board. I'm sure they're all working hard in the background to get it done. This next piece of news was a bit of a surprise and sort of popped out of nowhere. This is a VX cleaner, a Vox cleaner, sorry, not a VX cleaner, from Waves, more or less going up against RX, iZotope RX, which we just spoke about there, your sort of audio cleanser, audio cleaner, or just whatever you want to call it. It cleans up your audio, gets rid of the unwanted frequencies and so forth. But here we have Clarity VX Pro from Waves. What is it, you ask? Well, clean voice and dialogue at the highest quality in a fraction of the time. Clarity VX Pro works in real time, is fully automatable, and performs multiple noise reduction tasks in one quick pass, powered by Waves neural network. Let me just play a little bit of a trailer here. Hopefully it shows it off a bit, but let's play it back here and see what we get.
This is a game changer in noise reduction for dialogue.
Waves.
What do you like to do on the weekend?
I like a good musical. You know, something like a Hamilton or West Side Story.
Oh, wow. This is amazing to me. I
Did you hear that?
Something that good.
When I first got Clarity VX Pro, I was flabbergasted and stunned.
Stunned.
In short, Clarity does something very simple. It takes the noise away from dialogue.
It's so fast. You could do it on any track very quickly, or all of your tracks going through a bus. It works phenomenal.
It's impressive for sure. It's kind of very impressive.
There's a certain amount of AI. It's being able to differentiate dialogue from any other sound.
Oh my God! I just want to hear more of you. I am ready to have you record an entire album. I'm coming to your show. I mean, look out, Adele.
That's
there
amazing.
Is a new singer in town.
What I love about this is you take it, you turn it on, noise goes away, drop the mic, walk out of the room, you're done.
Okay, so they've sort of made it a one knob affair. Yes, they're going up against your iZotope RX and that sort of thing. But, you know, they've also they're sort of going down the simpler, just sort of make it really simple user interface that Waves is pretty good at and are renowned for doing. Like they did those one knob series. And this looks and sounds, if that's for real, that sounds ridiculous. And that speed of processing is unfreaking believable. So I'm not 100% fully familiar. I'm going to be honest with you. I don't really understand or know much about neural networks. Trademark registered by Waves. It must be some technology that they use that is extremely powerful, and maybe it's utilizing the full power of those new native chips in Apple. I don't know, or just using its own sort of software architecture to make it work that fast in real time. Let me just read some of the points back here for you. Industry-leading noise reduction for voice at exceptional quality. Real-time with full automation, game-changing for post-production. Fast results, performs all noise reduction tasks in a single pass. Powered by groundbreaking Waves neural networks technology. That's the thing we need to find out more about. Saves hours of time and tedious work. Edit and mix dialogue in context inside the door, and other video and audio tracks playing. Ambience keeping can remove the voice from background noise. That's pretty cool. I mean, it's not stuff that you couldn't do in iZotope's RX. iZotope's RX is honestly magic. Like, it is honestly magic. But I do want to try out this Waves Clarity VX just to see how have they done it and how it all works. And look, it looks like a very nice, easy to use GUI. And I think that's kind of important for people that just don't really know much about noise reduction, sound reduction. They can just pull this plugin up and just literally twist the dial and get the result that they want. And that's pretty cool. So yeah, this came out of nowhere. Waves Clarity VX Pro, if you are a filmmaker, or not even if you're a filmmaker, even as a musician and you need to separate dialogue from ambience or whatever, this is going to help you a lot. And it's like, if this is really as good as they're making it out to be, it almost would be like you don't need a recording booth anymore. Like, technology is getting absolutely nuts. Like, you literally don't need a recording booth if this technology is as good as it's being made out to be. Anyway, let's move along. Wow, there was so much cool stuff that happened this last week. Look at this. Softube just boom. Softube's like, you know what? We're going to release this vocoder on you guys. Vocalize your vision. Sorry, it is very late, and you're listening to the Emlyn in the Mix late at night version. Don't worry, we're back to morning next week. I hope it's okay for you guys. I hope that I'm still inspiring you and helping you see the cool new technologies that are out there. This looks pretty cool. This is a Vocoder vocal resynthesizer, a fun-to-use MIDI-controlled effect with an inspiring workflow and Softube quality sound, featuring a 6-voice polyphonic carrier synth with 4 selectable waveforms. Great for vintage Vocoder sounds as well as creative experimentation. Vocoder, and it's got an introductory price, USD 79. Developed by Bell Labs and used by the military to obscure voice messages. Wow, I didn't know that during World War II. I had no idea. That's really cool. So the Vocoder has had a clandestine foothold in music culture since the 1970s. With subtly or not, the Vocoder appears on a parade of favorites from Electric Light Orchestra, Imogen Heap, Daft Punk, Herbie Hancock, Kraftwerk, Beastie Boys, Laurie Anderson, Kanye West, Mogwai, and many, I would even say millions of bands probably using the Vocoder. Softube Vocoder delivers the sensations of vintage machines with Softube sound, quality and workflow, a built-in 6-voice carrier synth with MIDI capability, and an easy-to-use attack, hold, decay envelope, plus a visionary freeze section means that you're in for an array of sonic spectacle and revelry, which is to say you're gonna have a real good time. Let's play it back. Let's have a listen to this Vocoder in action. Here we go. Yeah, there's a free 20-day trial version. You must try that out. That sounds really dope, and that demo really showed off how you could use the Vocoder, even in like a modern sort of track. You don't have to go that full Daft Punk sound like that. That was cool because you sort of had that singing and sort of dry wet mix with the Vocoder, or maybe it was dry wet on the actual Vocoder app. Anyway, it sounded really, really nice, really quality demo there. But when it comes to, let's read this back over here a little bit, because when it comes to creating equipment that improves workflow and offers the highest quality sound, our reputation is rock solid and long. Our partnerships with premium brands like Marshall, Buchla, Doper, and Mutronics and Odo go back nearly 20 years. Softube Vocoder is built on this legacy of creativity, passion, and attention to detail, because to create tools that innovate, you have to have heart, soul, and rock and roll science. Let's have a quick... We've got more demos. I really am curious to have a listen to this. So let's just have a quick listen to this 12-band manual intro Vocoder. Here we go.
The vocoder usually consists of transmitting analysis part and receiving resynthesis part. The signal input into the vocoder analyzer is called a modulator, and the signal modulated in the resynthesis part is called a carrier. The analyzer part breaks down the input signal to a number of frequency bands. Each analyzer band sends information about its state to a corresponding band in the resynthesis part, where this information is applied.
Explaining how it works. Anyway, there's a bunch of different demos there. We're not going to listen to them all, but you get the idea of how that sounds with the full vocoder effect on 20-day free trial. Again, this was one of those things that sort of just came out of left field this week. Like, really wasn't expecting, to see this from Softube, a vocoder, and then of course Waves coming out with the Clarity VX Pro. Very, very exciting products indeed all around this week. All right, let's get to our big story and our, well, not necessarily big. Oh, it is big. It was big news this week. It's our last topic of today, and it is the title of this podcast, of course. Well, it's in the title of this podcast, but Apple announced the new Mac Studios, and what does it mean for musicians and music producers? Well, this article, thank you to musictech.com. This article comes from musictech.com. If you enjoy reading about music technology, then you need to head over to musictech.com. But if you want the sweet candy of my voice in your ears, because my voice sounds so fantastic at the moment, then you're at the right place on the Emlyn and Mix podcast. So let me just read a little bit back about this podcast. Let me read a little bit back from this article. Jeez, I can't speak. It is, honestly, it's way later than I should even be. It's way later than my bedtime right now. All right. Apple played up the appeal of its fastest ever Mac to creatives of all kinds, from musicians and producers to artists and filmmakers, and frankly, this feels justified. The M1 ultra-powered model of the new machine comfortably beats all Apple's existing hardware, including the Mac Pro. Now, what is interesting about this new computer is that they're touting it more towards just your everyday users. This isn't a pro product, which is ridiculous because, as it just says in the start of this article, this is more powerful than the existing hardware, than the existing Mac Pros which are out there. So it's phenomenal. My mind was blown when I saw this. So the focus is twofold. From factor and power on the first, you're getting a near silent yet incredibly powerful Mac that can sit comfortably under most monitors. You can drive several high-res displays and choose your own, or perhaps opt for Apple's new 5K Studio display. The vast majority of Pro audio interfaces now use some flavor of USB or Thunderbolt to connect, and Apple teased that we will also be getting an M1 powered Mac Pro at some point, which may well retain the ability to add PCI cards for those who need it, because this one actually doesn't, I don't think you can open this one up and have any expansion on. I think you just get what you order, basically. It's a bit like a MacBook, or one of their laptops, a MacBook Pro. But for most producers, the connectivity on Mac Studio should be sufficient or more than sufficient to hook up all of your peripherals. So when it comes to power, the base model with M1 Max and up to 64 gigabytes of unified memory is comparable to a fully stacked MacBook Pro, which is a fearsome beast indeed. And while the focus of the M1 chips has been power efficiency while delivering performance, it's certain that, freed from the need to conserve battery power to the laptops, the Mac Studio will be able to unleash the maximum performance that Apple Silicon offers. That means more plugins, more tracks, larger sample libraries, mixing and surround sound in real time, and more. And however, the M1 Ultra model is expensive, coming in at $3,999 USD starting configuration. But for pro users and studios whose demands are rigorous and where time is always crucial, that's not all that much for a machine that's going to make your workflow buttery smooth with hundreds and hundreds of tracks and plugins. And that it takes up little desk space and is essentially silent are also very important considerations, especially in smaller studios. And if you watched the Apple presentation, especially on this part where they announced and introduced the studio, I'm going to butcher this name, I'm so sorry, Anna Wesbaraska. Damn it. It's a beautiful name. A software developer at Ableton appeared in Apple's launch video and said that the M1 Ultra Mac Studio enables producers to keep adding layers on top of layers on top of layers. So it's essentially just saying, just keep handling, just keep throwing stuff at it. And Anne added that M1 Ultra seems very unimpressed with the load I ask it to handle, and now you can add more wavetable synthesizers together, and that contributes to the richness of your sound. There's more room for improvisation. DJ sets become more expressive. There's also, they announced the new iPad, which is very exciting also, because if you're an iPad music maker, this is pretty cool because they're adding, the iPad users are going to get some love too with the iPad Air gaining an M1 chip. And this is just coming in at $599. It's going to be a very affordable way to run pro-level DAWs like Cubasis and edit movies. Fast USB will mean an easier transfer of recording too. And given the price of the M1 Ultra model and the performance it offers, this is the part which, you know, could be a bit of a worry for some, but it's more than likely that the Mac Pro, when it comes, is going to have to be even crazier in terms of performance and will cost more, maybe a lot more, perhaps making it genuinely the preserver of commercial studios and effects houses. Mac Studio would seem to be an excellent desktop machine for producers of all levels, and it's hard to see anyone but the most demanding users needing more than it offers in terms of performance, at least for the foreseeable future. Like, unless something really demanding comes along. And yeah, I was the same. Like, I'm agreeing wholeheartedly with this article, because when I watched the presentation of Apple teasing and showing off the new Mac Studio that is coming out literally next week, I thought the Pro line was gone. I thought they just weren't even going to have a Pro line, because I couldn't see why. How could you need a Pro line when you got this much power? Like, the fact that there is a more powerful chip than the M1 Max blows my mind, because I thought, okay, they got it at the M1 Max and maybe they'll have a new silicon chip in 2 or 3 years. But no, instead they managed to get the M1 Max chip and bind them together to make the M1 Ultra chip, more or less giving you double the power, which is absolutely insane. And it's in this tiny little house. Well, actually, it's a bit bigger than the Mac Mini. It sort of looks like a Mac Mini on steroids, like it's a taller Mac Mini, but it's still not too massive. If you're looking here actually on the simulcast YouTube video, I've just blown up the picture there so you can have a little glimpse of it, and you can stack it under some monitors here. It looks really nice actually with the 2 monitors like that. I wonder if they're the Mac monitors. I'm not entirely sure, but it's a nice little setup you can have. I actually like the dual screen. I wouldn't mind going back to the dual screen. I'm on one single screen, big ass screen though, but I like the dual screen. I miss it. I used to have that back in the day in the studio. It was quite nice having your mixer on one side and your editing on the other. Anyway, this is exciting. Are you going to get the brand new Mac Studio? Is this for you? Have I covered the right news? Is this interesting? Because I guess what I wanted to talk about is that this released and it is coming, and it's coming as soon as next week. But also, I guess the other thing I wanted to find out is whether does this appeal to you? Like, there are some very exciting things about this, and you know, if it's not for you, then, you know, maybe some of the older but still powerful Mac hardware, like those Mac Pros, if you think about it, those Mac Pros, if you fully maxed them out and you put all the stuff in there, you made them massive, put all the, you know, RAM, everything you could, they were going freaking up to $90,000 or something. So to be able to get one of these fully maxed out for under 10 grand or something is ridiculous. And it's like 1.5 times more powerful than those $90,000 computers. I mean, if your mind isn't blown from Apple Silicon, I know, I'm sorry, I'm Apple biased. We have covered quite a few of these M1 chip stories, but I think these are groundbreaking, next level. This is a new step in that technology, and we'll see how the companies employ this native silicon style chips, but it's really exciting indeed to see that Apple have gone and come all this way. All right, I hope that helps you decide whether you want to get one, or if you want to discuss about it, talk about it, leave a comment in the comment section below. Before we wrap up the podcast though, I do want to show you something here. We spoke about this last week. It was one of our big topics about the Sound Toys donating. I'm just going to make it bigger here so we can see it. Sound Toys donating all of their income for several days, or I think it was a week, all of their income towards humanitarian efforts in Ukraine during the crisis that's happening over there with the war and so forth. And I just want to show you some figures here. They actually raised, this is pretty amazing, $111,850. That's freaking awesome, guys. If any of my listeners, I'd love to know if any of my listeners actually heard me talking about this and actually went out there and got some Sound Toys software. That is really, really cool. And we can look, there's a breakdown here. 48 grand went to Red Cross Society of Ukraine. 39,250 went to Medicines Sans Frontières, Doctors Without Borders. And $24,600 went to the World Central Kitchen to provide meals for those displaced and those fleeing the country. And now, this is pretty cool. Sound Toys are saying, not stopping there. From today forward, 100% of each radiator purchase, which is this plugin here, it's sort of like a warm, I don't know why I'm doing that with my fingers, makes things warm, vintage vibe sounding. So 100% of each radiator purchase will be donated to not-for-profit organizations as a way for Sound Toys customers to join us in helping others. And this is going to be an ongoing pledge. And we're directing these donations to the International Rescue Committee to help refugees whose lives are shattered by conflict and disaster in Ukraine and more than 40 other countries. So they're not just focusing it all on Ukraine, although Ukraine is getting hit hard at the moment, but there are other countries in crisis, not just Ukraine. Obviously, Ukraine is all in the news, though, because it is pretty incredible and crazy what's going on over there at the moment. But it's cool to see. I really like this, and I like that they put the breakdown in here, and it's incredible to see that how much money was actually raised in that 1 week, knowing that probably people went out of the way to get, like, that was a good time to purchase Sound Toys. People like to help people, and that was a good time to do it. So well done. Kudos to Sound Toys. Sorry, I went a little bit off microphone, but I'm back in the microphone now. Oh yeah, you can hear me nice and clear. I'm going to go. Like, it's really late, and I'm tired, and I know you guys don't care about what's happening with me. I know you just want to hear what the news is. I hope I delivered the goods today. Hope you enjoyed the podcast, guys. We'll be back next week, Season 3, Episode 11. Please leave a comment in the comment section below if you're watching the video. Would love to know your feedback on what we discussed today, what you enjoyed. And also, I'd love to get some feedback on this podcast. If you've been listening to it for a while now, we've done 110 episodes. Please feel free to leave some feedback. I read all of your feedback. Just scroll down to the bottom of the podcast app. You should be able to leave a review. 3 stars, 4 stars, 5 stars, 1 star, depending on 5 star being good, 1 star being not so great or terrible. Just leave whatever you feel was relevant to you. And yeah, I think that's pretty much everything. All that YouTube crap, do that as well. All right, guys. Peace out. Till next week. We'll be back with more crazy and exciting news, I'm sure. All right. Peace out, guys. Boom.